today's learning session. So today we'll be looking at an important aspect of our business as a learning topic, which is our culture, what makes us. The famous American business professional that Rob said something about culture, which I would like to quickly share with us. He said, no company, either small or large, can live over the long run without energized employees who believe in the culture and understand how to achieve it. This shows how important culture is to our long-term goals. Our facilitator for today's session is Michael Adediji, take by the mind. Please let's sit back and enjoy the learning session. By the mind, over to you.
Hey. Hi, Emmanuel. Thank you for the introduction. So it's very formal. Welcome everybody to another insightful and exciting session. Another Tuesday learning session. And I guess we all know what we are reviewing today, or what we're rehashing, or what we're revisiting. I'm sure most of us I'm hoping, may have seen the video, which was just something we had done almost a year ago. That was the second time we did it last year. So for those of us who have been in a business longer than a year or 2 years, this is nothing new to you. And even for those who who are new, I guess this was part of your induction. So I guess it's still very fresh in your memory. So it'll be interesting to see how today ends and how knowledgeable we are of these things, of this topic. So yes, I'm here to reiterate and walk us through or run us through our culture again, our work culture, what we call the culture code. Franklin, Emmanuel, I don't know if you would help me share the deck, because sharing the deck from my end on Zoom has always been impossible lately. Try, but
let me see if you try from my end.
Yeah, but it's going to be a quick run through because it's going to be a short session. In our usual fashion, we would have a Kahoot at the end. I'll try to engage a little, but I know most of the engagement will happen with that session. Well, yeah, by show of hands, who watched the video? I know some of us know it too much not to watch it, but who at least went through the deck again? Because I did see a few people on the deck. Oh, wow. I guess.
Okay. Did I see my screen?
Oh, yes, I can. Okay, so I guess not so many of us, but I guess we'll remember, for most of the people who didn't look at it, I guess we'll remember some of the things here. So yeah, so welcome again. I'm here to talk about the culture code. That was an interesting video that I'd like us to use as an intro, but I don't know, playing it here again is just not good. It's not good. It's not a good decision based on the short time that we have for this big summary. But if you saw that video, it was very tongue-in-cheek, very laced with comedy and humor. But I think it sort of summarized what culture is, or what we can define it, even though there's not one definition for work culture. So if you remember that video, if you ever saw it, if you know the one I'm talking about, that's the first one where they had different people reenact things and what people thought work culture was in the office, playing pool, eating pizza in the limousine. I can play the videos. Okay, Emmanuel. I think that video is the very first one on this deck. It's somewhere maybe between the 10th slide. Slide. Let me look at it from my end. Emmanuel, you can scroll down and play the first video you see. We've got to use ChatGPT. Use ChatGPT to be sending us HR emails. So I particularly like the video because it made a very not too serious, but it made a very serious question easy to assimilate with the way it was reenacted. It landed at you getting to see that work or culture is primarily reliant on people. People make up culture, right? And for businesses, if you focus on people, the kind of people who sort of align on certain beliefs or values, that then sort of, makes the culture go on, or whatever has been set at the top, to go on. So please, if you can't play the video, Emmanuel, let's roll.
Emmanuel, the video is on the slide.
It's on the slide. It's on
slide again. Slide. I can't remember what slide it is, but you
yeah,
go
I
through
can
the slide.
see the video. I'm just trying to create now. All right, so the video is on now.
Your screen is no more up.
Yeah, so I want to share my screen now so that can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right.
I'll encourage all to do some listening and
Okay. So what you're doing is that you're playing the video from the session. I don't think you need to do that. Just
hold on.
Yeah, just play the video from the deck you were sharing. There's a link, I think, on that slide. I really don't know why I can't share from my end, but we'll solve it some other time. Did I say Samuel? Jesus, please forgive me. Emmanuel. We're good at hiring people with Hebrew names.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you scroll all the way down to slide, I think it's 10.
All right, I'm doing Samuel, Emmanuel.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you, Anthony, for saving the day.
Yeah, I've put Samuel in my mouth.
Ayrton, Motola sent the link to the chat. I think you can just pick it up.
Thank you.
Yes, this same thing.
Yeah, I think it should be the intro for everything we need to discuss today. We may not have as much time to see all the interesting videos. So please, if you haven't seen the videos yet, please go on. It's really the references from Netflix and their own culture. I think it's called Freedom and Responsibility. Please take our time to watch the links. They are very insightful. Boy.
Sorry, internet is playing tricks. I don't know why.
Life is full of questions. Most questions are small.
Oh, what's that smell?
No, where do you?
Wait, what did you just say?
However, some questions
Where's Grandpa now?
are big.
What if what we call ghosts are actually aliens from another dimension?
So, do you love me?
Of all the questions asked in the business world, very few are as big as what is company culture? So, what does company culture mean? Well, there are a lot of definitions out there. Some are good, some are not so good, and some are, well, incomplete.
Deal with that!
It's pretty common for people to associate company culture with things like benefits or perks.
It's so fun kicking your butt.
Guys,
Mom, don't you think?
some of us are trying to not work here, okay?
Now this is company culture.
These things can influence culture for sure, and hopefully they have a positive impact. But it's important to recognize that company culture exists independent of those things.
Oh, sweet, our weekly test!
Yes! Giddy up!
Guys. I don't know if I could work anywhere that didn't offer free limo lunches every day, right? Totally.
Now this is what I call company culture.
And In other words, you can't just give your employees a bunch of free stuff and hope that those things equal culture. There are no shortcuts.
Okay, hotshot, so what is company culture then?
I thought you'd never ask. There are a lot of good definitions for company culture out there.
Company culture is the set of standards and attitudes that members of an organization have in common.
Actually, it's the shared beliefs and purposes within an organization. That's what company culture is.
No. You're both close, but company culture is the values and behaviors that people in an organization agree on.
Believe it or not, beliefs is wrong.
I don't like
and
your
so is
attitude,
behavior.
and I reject it.
I
reject it.
You're big
And
and
to be honest,
stupid.
I didn't give up my semi-annual perm for this.
Those are all fine answers, whether you call them values or beliefs or whatever. It is helpful to find the common principles you aspire towards. It helps make sense of your culture and your people.
Sorry, guys.
But even these definitions ultimately fall short.
What?
These definitions are close, but there's something very important that these types of definitions forget.
Just spit it out, skinny boy. What is company culture?
Company culture is ultimately about how we treat each other. In fancy marketing language, company culture is the summation of how people within an organization interact with each other and work together.
Not bad.
I knew that. I've heard that before.
Okay. Really, what a company believes or values isn't as important as how they act. Now, it's still important to talk about your culture. In fact, as you communicate your culture, may I suggest you do that by defining these three things. First, define your mission. In other words, what is your purpose beyond just making money? Second, define your vision. What is it you want to accomplish in the long term? Third, define your values. What are the fundamental beliefs you share on how people should act and be treated? Defining these three things will help you communicate your culture to others. But remember, company culture talk is useless unless you walk the walk. And no amount of brilliantly worded mission statements or fun perks can make up for a genuine culture where people are treated with respect.
He's joking. Don't.
When you center your culture efforts around people and how they should be treated, everything else falls into place. This is what the best companies do. They know that when you focus on people, it's clear what behaviors and values
And beliefs.
are truly important. Focusing on people helps you know which perks and benefits are actually worthwhile to offer. You know who to hire since you can look for candidates who already treat people the way you do. And on the flip side, you know who to, well, let go. We could go on and on discussing company culture because there's so much to it, but the point is this. Cultures are made up of people. So how you define and grow your culture should depend on people. How should your people treat each other to be happy and engaged? How should your people work together to be fulfilled and successful? Answer those questions first. However you define your culture, if you make sure your people have the opportunities to grow professionally and personally, chances are everything will work out. Now go out there and be good to each other.
Thank you.
Mom, what's company culture?
I think we can stop it here. Yeah. Thanks. So yeah, that's what we're here for. That's why we're here. To remind us again, what our culture is. Like the guy just mentioned, first by defining our vision, which we all have as for the companies within the business, we all have our vision, our mission, and then the values that are dear to us that we try to hold up. So yes, we'll be running through that. I don't know if anybody here, without looking at a deck, I'm sure maybe the guys who run through our pitch deck often may know our vision and mission. That's for Image and Time and for Neukleos. But would anybody want to try in your own words, whether it's for Neukleos or for Image and Time? Do you want to try to state what our mission is? Let's start from there. What our mission statement is. No cheating. Anybody? Show of hands. Should I call a name? I'm tempted to call someone. I don't need to call. People that don't work on decks, that don't see it often. Timileyin Adetunji. What is Neukleos's mission statement? Sorry to put you on the spot. Is Timmy Boy here?
I did my.
You took our time to go and check.
Sorry, please confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear. This one is
Hello.
time wasting tactics. Timmy Boy, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello?
Okay. Did you hear my question?
No.
Okay, you didn't.
Can you hear me?
Okay, let me just move on to some of this. But you just be asking me, can I?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, so mission statement for.
Okay. We can't hear you anymore. Timmy, I could hear you breathe. All right, let's go. Let's go on. Let's go. So yes, so we have Kucheza is not here on the deck, but of course, for the two main businesses that we collaborate, that collaborates with the business, Neukleos and Image and Time, we have our vision and mission statements clearly defined. We even try to be articulated, sometime late last year, and I think it's also on this deck. So for Image and Time, we all know the scope of Image and Time and what Image and Time, what we do and what we provide to the team. The vision is to provide the highest level of service, creativity, and performance to our clients and our people, and to be among the best run businesses in the world with a strong and unified culture. Our mission is to be the premier agency building and promoting the greatest brands in Africa and globally, creating real emotional connections between businesses and their customers, and delivering lasting and measurable value to our clients. Similarly, on the Neukleos' end, the vision is to create data-driven, meaningful connections that drive long-term value for our people, partners, and community. We aim to do this through our collaborative and immersive approach. This is a mission to delivering on our partners' business goals and internal culture of learning, which we all know, innovation, design thinking, balance, and camaraderie. So I think, for us, it can be a mouthful, but it's something that if we look at and we read and we already see how we act and how we sort of work on projects and try to problem solve or create, design thinking outputs, you'll see that it already comes through, right? So next up, we'll touch our values. I think that's another thing that sort of sums up what our culture is. Yes, like I mentioned, we try to articulate our vision. Nobody's sharing their deck. So I'm looking at my own deck. So I'm hoping that you all are looking at your deck, since I can't share my deck. But if Emmanuel and Anthony can help us so that we can just follow through and we're all on the same page. When we try to articulate the vision, we try to see how we could succinctly, as a joint business, state this vision so that it's clear. And I think we landed at something around unearthing cultural truths and creating sustainable vision. I remember that was something that, we were workshopping at the time. And it does still sort of, like I said, succinctly tell what the vision is. Like, if we're trying to be the premier agency, we're trying to be world class, and we'll have, help brands businesses connect with their audience, with emotional connection. All of it is all summed up in unearthing cultural truths, because once you understand cultural truths, you will find insights there. You know how to connect emotionally. You know how to use the data you've gotten to, come up with data-driven solutions. And at the end of the day, it's supposed to help create sustainable value for the business, for the brand, whether it's by whether it's it's market share, whether it's top of mind awareness, whether it's growth, business growth, whatever it is that will create sustainable value based off whatever design thinking solution we come up with. So I think it does sum it up. I'll touch on our brand DNA because that's how we've coined it, sort of, because that sort of leads into our values, right? And I hope someone here can remember what there's an acronym we use, what our DNA is. It's LED, L for learning, E for end user obsession, and D for data design. And we had spoken to some of these already in the weeks before now. So I'm sure everybody understands what our brand DNA is and what makes up our brand DNA. Learning, L, end user obsession, E, and design. So when you think LED or LED, I think that helps us to remind ourselves of what our brand DNA is. So whose responsibility is this culture we're talking about? Is it Emmanuel's responsibility to keep it up as per his HR or people's person, right? Or is it Ayotunde, because Ayotunde has always sort of, chimed in and helped, that team? Is it admin? Is it Franklin? I'd just like to call somebody to just give me an idea of who's responsible, who's the custodian of workplace culture. And I would like to call on Joseph Laniel. Who do you think is responsible for our workplace culture, Joseph? Is Joseph on the call? I think I saw him. Oh, Joe, I can see you. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I'm on the call. Good morning.
Morning.
Who is responsible for the workplace? Everybody is responsible for the workplace culture.
Fantastic. Yeah. Were you still speaking?
What?
Were you still speaking?
No.
Okay, so fantastic. So everyone is responsible. Like that video mentioned, like if a business understands, if everything is based off the people, right? It's basically how the people sort of interact with each other, how they get work done, how, collaborations are done within teams. It's based off that, right? It's how people really behave. It's really people's values aligning. Like, it's how I would treat you, it's how you would treat me. And then it goes on like a ripple effect, right? And if there's anyone that comes into the team that they don't seem to align, or they don't seem to be, that kind of person, like every other person is, the system would sort of find a way to sieve, itself out. So at the end of the day, we, the people, are the upholders or the custodians of whatever we defined as our culture. Right, there are a few other videos we can't touch right now. Just delve into the list of our cultures. Before that, if you go on to the next two slides, I think, Emmanuel, next slide, please. We try to just put down a few that we aren't, right, before we get into the values that drive us, is to say, okay, what we definitely don't condone would be for internal communication, right? You can't assume that the next person understands how to do something, or you can't assume that this other person has sorted this out, or this other person must have heard about this thing the way you heard about it, right? So there are no rooms for assumption, right? And I think when you get into the list of our values, you see something about communication, because that's something we're big at. Always communicate, always iterate, always try to make sure that there is no room for Chinese whispers or assumptions, right? A lack of team spirit or toxicity, that's definitely on the red list. That's not our value. That's not something that we uphold. Micromanagement, and this is a tricky one. I need to explain it further, right? So there's micromanagement that is not, it's not a progressive way to sort of lead. So as leaders, right, you must learn to get people who you lead to take responsibilities, right? Own things. And I think we'll go on to explaining extreme ownership, is that if you give people tasks over time, you can also trust them to deliver it without you ending up taking the work and doing it, or sort of hand-holding them all through the whole process every time. So there's a place for managing, and then there's not a place for micromanagement, where, at the end of the day, you're not helping people grow, right? Or helping people to sort of learn as they grow. Bad habits in general, there are many things that can be habits, but we know the ones that can be bad, right? So I'm not even go into details. I guess we all know what bad habits are. So that's something that we do not condone. Office gossip, I think that also sort of breeds toxicity, right? Then sort of get people to start having clans outside of, effective work teams or team or brand teams, right? Get people to start backbiting, get people to start talking down on each other. That's definitely, I don't even know when last that kind of thing. I've been in that kind of situation. Thankfully, because of our work culture, it's not something I know about, right? If it has existed any time within the business, it's not anywhere close to me, because it's not something I personally can condone because of my own personal values, right? Low office engagement, right? That's basically not being a team player, right? That's not something that we condone as well. And lack of empathy, and I'll go further into this when I start listing out our values quickly, because we're running against time, and I think we'll all test our knowledge of this in a bit. So here are the values that drive us. I'll go through each of them quickly. So extreme ownership, like I was talking about micromanagement, right? We believe that everyone, and like Joe said, when it comes to our culture, everyone is responsible. And so the responsibility goes beyond, oh, this is my job description, or this is my designation, or because I saw people on the floor in the office, I think that's Philip's work. I can't come and be picking paper, right? Because anybody else can do it, not me. So that's not us, right? When we talk about extreme ownership, it means that if there's anything that's within your knowledge and within your view that you think you can take up and solve or help show, people how to solve it, take it on, right? And be resourceful and be responsible enough to take it on. Next is entrepreneurship. And I'll touch on this a bit because there's some other video that did speak to it in a way, when he said, if a business is people focused, right, and is focused at people's personal growth, right, you'll find out that it sort of gives back. You'll find people also growing the business. For some of us in our what would I call it, in our interviews or hiring process, you may have been asked a question if you have a side hustle, right? If there's any other thing that you do. And if you're still in the business and you were asked that question and you said yes, or whatever your response is, you realize that we did not ask because we are averse to it, or we don't like it, or we don't want you to do something on the side and be sharing your mind and your time with us, right? That's not the case. It's that we value people who understand that spirit of entrepreneurship, right? Because again, there's something about, if you know how to run your business, you will know how to run someone else's, right? But we also believe in that, in personal growth, is that you find your passion, you find what you're doing, and make sure you're doing it right. Because we're also here to support. We have many people who are, whether in the business or alumni of this business, that we have supported in their own side hustles, right? And I guess as we go on, if you ask me, I can also call out names and refer you to businesses that are very close to us because they sort of started here, within the business. So I think all in all with entrepreneurship is that if you have that mindset, it makes you an entrepreneur, where you become almost like a business owner within a business. Is that you are thinking in your different teams, in your different, different brands you work for, is that you think with the mindset of growth. You think to grow that business as though it's yours, right? Let me just go on after. Speak to my care. We take care very seriously. Is that you? Again, this is something that we're saying that we're hoping that in your hiring process, we had found out that look, this person sort of is a fit, is a branch fit, that they already sort of exhibit this values, right? Is that you sort of have a place for being a people's person beyond just having good communication skills. Is that like, you really care for people you work for, people you work with. Is that you have some attention to detail because you think like, look, if this is shady or is below standard, is that I care too much for not just my business's standards. I care too much for my own name, right? That this can't go out. That the quality of this is not good enough, right? Is that you care that much to care, right? So care is it's something that we hold deeply. That you put people first. You can sort of show empathy, and I'll speak to empathy because empathy is also part of our core values. So excellence again, is that you have this spirit of excellence. And it's what drives us, because if we say we are design thinkers and we're coming up with solutions, our solutions must be excellent, right? It must solve things. It must have a wow effect. It should be award winning, right? So excellence in everything that we do. Excellence in your approach, in how you write mails, and you're coming up with ideas, whatever it is. If you hold that in personal value, I think there's this saying that, greatness chases excellence. It's not the other way around. So, greatness chasing us. Integrity, this one is something that I think I always mention it, that I hold dearly. Right? I feel like if you have integrity, yeah. So no place for, trying to be sneaky or trying to be a liar or to be dodgy. I feel like if you lack integrity, you become a platform for everything bad, because everything can go, anything can go. It means that, we can fall short on quality and you won't care, right? Is that lack integrity, you happily won't even care for anyone else, or you become dodgy, or you become you have become pretentious, right? Because integrity is basically not being true, it's not being honest. It's not owning up to mistakes and trying to learn from them. It's not being authentic. It means that you can steal. It means that you can, like, yeah. So I feel like this one is some major value that I think everyone should hold up. And yeah, innovation. Like the saying, innovate or die, is that in our dealings, in our everyday, that we think of how we can innovate. I think we spoke to this when we, looking at some of the like, business and how we can innovate, or how even last week's session we spoke to not holding on so tightly to business models, right? Because people who did, case in point, Blockbuster, are nowhere to be found, because they never innovated, even though they were known to be the place for movies, movie rentals and all of that, but they sort of faded away because they stuck to that model. So the same thing here is that we're holding up that as a core value to say, like, if everyone does imbibe that spirit of innovation, it means that you can always transform yourself, you can always transform the business, you can always think of innovative ideas. Yeah. And then over communication. This is one of, I think this is GB's favorite. Like I had mentioned, let's not leave any room for assumptions, let's not leave any room for hearsays or Chinese whispers. Let's always communicate to understand, communicate to conceptualize. Think before you say it. Think about how it's delivered. Let's not forget our most of that thing we did earlier in the year about feedback. Just we forgot that term. But yeah, let's always consider the feedback. Yes, radical candor. Thank you, Timmy. Speak solutions and think creatively. And yes, impact is another one that I think I really personally like, is that like I always say, leave a mark, right? Leave live your every day to leave a mark. Right? And I think if you have that as a vision, if you have that some aspiration to say that every of my actions, every of my interactions with people, every of my time in a business, my time here at Image and time in Nucleos, I want to leave a mark. I want to leave, and people would say, okay, that was done by, just when Justin was here. Justin was a great guy. This is what Justin did. This is what Justin built. These are the frameworks he created. This is how he helped the business. So I feel like if we all have that mindset to wake up every day to leave an impact, and I think that will also help us drive excellence, right? Help drive greatness. But yeah, so these are our core values in a nutshell. I don't know if it's too much, but I think, yes, everything I've gone through right now, from extreme ownership, integrity, care, entrepreneurship, to excellence, innovation, impact, and over communication, are core values. So in summary, thank you, Anthony. In summary, everything I've said is basically telling you to be responsible. You're being responsible, to have integrity, to show care, to have empathy, to communicate well, and communicate every time, to not leave room for any shortcoming, basically. So have integrity. Everything sums up to you being, responsible, to take ownership, to take, full responsibility of things, because at the end, you're the one, and with everyone you work with, that would uphold this culture based off this shared value. And like I had mentioned before, this is what makes us us. This is like a defining tool for people who join the business, right? So, if you're a culture fit, it's basically because you understand these things, or you pretty much act, right, sort of have this as your own personal values. That's why it's a big deal for us. So thank you, everyone. I guess we're moving into the next phase of our session, which is to test our knowledge so far in this particular topic. Thank you. Over to you, Ayotunde. Yes, oh, sorry, Emmanuel.
All right, thank you, Daddy Mike. No, it's me. And you already know.
All right.
It's time for Kahoot. Everybody bring out your phones, your laptop, whatever it is. Right. All right. There we have it. The keypad is loading, or the key is loading. No, it's going to be really quick today, hopefully. All right, there's your pen. So, the link, if you can't, that will be just type kahoot.it, put in code 908. It's up to you. Okay. One more minute and we start. How should you use your names? What is DBA? Hola. Let's see which other name is there. Spyro. Who is Spyro? Who is LeBron James? Who is Sophie? Can't change your name. Unknown. Start. Which one is your name? Landlord. change it to a name that we know, like Just Tired. Now we know Just Tired, Just Tired. Right, let's start. Question. How many shared values do we have? Yeah. They're very simple questions, but yes, has a bit of detail in them. We have 8 shared values, right? We think about it, 7. If you chose 7, you can manage, but there are actually 8 because of our communication. We know that story. For those that don't know the story, please sit at the mic. All right, we proceed. Please, who's Hola? Who's Hola? Hola. Whichever one is correct.
Hey, Tunde, it's me.
Faustina. Faustina. Okay. Question number 2. Company culture is who does that? Watch the video. I was playing today. Ah, it's tricky, You got
No, this one is wrong, bro.
Today you're wrong. Today you're wrong.
Sorry. You're right that I'm wrong. Okay. Don't worry, you still have 8 more questions to make up for it. Let's go. Are you sure I'm wrong? Okay, well, I think I am. All right. Next question. Apologies. Apologies. In your head, you're in 3rd place. What's the acronym of DNA? You know that gets so wrong. I know that gets it wrong. All right. Say LGBTQ. Okay. All right. Everybody got it right. All right. Next question. Augustina, Tapio. Who is responsible for culture within our organization? Let's see. One person said me. Well, yeah, you're right, but yeah, it's all of us. We all make up the culture. Well, technically, me is correct, but yeah, all of us is more correct. All right, next question. I sleep. All right, let's go. Timilen Ifani. Timilen, you're an academician. Okay, moving on. Which of the following is not part of the red list? Sorry. For those saying me is correct, yes, me is correct, right? That's the last question, or the question for the last, I think. The culture is made by all of us, right? One person cannot create the culture. It's a company-wide thing, right? It can't be one person. Because if one person decides the culture is this way, another person decides the culture is that way, then yeah, it's correct, but it's not the best of the options. So all right, red lists. Is over communication. It is over communication. Poor internal communication is a red list, right? Because it breeds room for trouble. Okay. Team spirit obviously is not. It's part of the red list. Low office engagement also is part of the red list, right? So low office engagement is we're having learning session, everybody participates. We are doing book review, which again I'm coming this Friday. Hot for those that don't read the book. It's part of low office engagement. We are all enjoying to be part and parcel of the things that we do or that makes our culture, right? So it is all of us that makes this culture. All right. Sorry, Maya. Timilen Fani. All right. Next question. Which of the following is not part of our values? Who picked impact? Who picked excellence? Hey, people pick care. It shows two things. You're either not listening or you didn't watch the video before. Please, everybody go back and, just take out time to watch the video. So it is a responsibility. Responsibility was not part of our shared values. Next question. How many of our shared values start with the letter C? Bang. Let's see, I'm going to pick two. Who picked two here? That's the green, yellow, whatever color is. It's not yellow, but it's like yellow. Yeah, now mute now. Who picked two? And why did you pick two? That's this option. Yeah, mustard. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, now. I just want to understand the why. There's something in my mind, right? I just want to clarify whether that's it. I'm not shaming you. Yeah, that's actually what I'm asking. Yeah, thank you to missing. So yeah, please. Over communication is over communication, not communication. Right. Yeah, it's a tricky question, right? But yeah. All right, next question. Question 9 or 10. True or false? This one is very easy. All right, interesting. Yeah, everybody got it. I mean, I intentionally put up the last slide so that everyone could see it. So if you, well, we all got it right, so there's no point. Last question. This is another tricky bonus question, but let's see if Motola will knock Timile Infani off the scoreboard. Let's go. Gang, gang, gang. All right. So as easy as the question was, right, it's tricky. So please, everybody go back, I mean, you can go to the slides. You don't have to go through the video, right, and see all our shared values. There are 8 of them, right? 3 of them are with E, 3 of them are with I. Just go through them, right? For those that were here during the time of Gabriel gave us an acronym called ICE, right? With the number of I's and E's, obviously. I guess he left out O because O did not fit into ICE. But with that said, let's see our scoreboard. Coming in 3rd place. Please use convert to let us know you. We don't know who convert is. In 2nd place. Bani, what happened? Yeah, Timile Adediji and Olola coming in 3rd place. Please convert.
It's me. I'll just pay it on the low. Covert.
Covert. Oh, sorry, Covert. Nice. Timile, I apologize. All right, thank you, everyone. I mean, without saying, we'll do this again next week. And this time it will be a mixture of, and I'm giving you expo, area of concentration. It will be a mixture of everything that we've done this month, right? So, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, but, because I care about you guys. I'm trying to live our shared values, right? So that's it for me. Emmanuel, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ayotunde, for the Kahoot session, and Daddy Mike, you've done excellently for the learning session. Okay, so before we go, as we all know that our culture is the responsibility of everyone, so let's do our best to ensure that we uphold our culture. Culture defines us, culture explains who we are, and it's culture that will help us to achieve our long-term goal. All right, so I wish us all a productive day, and I want to say goodbye to everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Sorry, before
Goodbye to you, Emmanuel.
Sorry, before we all go, I just realized there's an announcement. You will be getting an email from our people and culture team. There's a tournament, Republican tournament, tennis tournament that will be happening this Saturday, all things being equal. You get more details about that. Seats are limited, so if you're interested, yeah, when you get the email, you know what to do. Thank you, and do have a lovely rest of the day.
Danny man, can you wait behind, please?
Okay, Timile, I'll wait behind.
And Daniel. Adediji, hi. Bye.
Larry, thanks. Larry, thanks.
Which one that they're thanking Larry? What did he do? Please let me think.
Larry, thanks.
Larry, thanks. So thanks in advance. This I've not received.
Larry, thanks, man. Thanks.
Larry, thank you times 10. Just in case you can.